Hello YouTube, it is I, Banded Wendy. How are you? It is Wednesday, the 9th of March, I believe, 2016. And another thought came to me through some friends and fellow weight loss surgery friends. And this comes up in conversation often, so I thought, maybe I can share my thoughts about this. Maybe it'll make a difference, maybe it won't, right? So, the concept of knowing what to do versus actually doing it, acting on what you know how to do. I call that the voices in my head, right? You're a nice, normal person who sometimes hears voices, and you have that positive Polly. Yeah, you can. You know what to do. Do this. This is what you're supposed to do. Pick your protein first. Drink your water first. Measure out your portions. Track your food. Make sure you're hitting that minimum protein count your surgeon tells you to. Make sure you're getting all those water ounces in your doctor tells you to. Get your fitness in. It matters, right? You don't want to be not getting your fitness. Build your heart, build your muscles, increase your lung capacity, shape your body as you lose the weight. Take your vitamins. Oh, and those supplements, they matter too. We don't eat as much, so you got to make sure you get all those things in. And then there's the negative Nancy. Yeah, you don't want to do that. That's kind of boring. You love food. Everything else tastes great. It'd be so much better to go through that drive-through than to reach in my purse and eat this protein bar I have for 911 Foods, or the food I have at home that's waiting for me, that I know the stats on, that I calculated, that will take me to my goals. That's boring. You've done that. Have some fun. Live a little. Do this, right? Positive Polly, negative Nancy. I'm the nice, normal person who sometimes hear those voices. And they go blah, 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 in my head, right? Been there. This umbrella, I've talked about this umbrella of weight loss surgery. More than likely, if you're watching this video, you're under that umbrella. You've had some kind of weight loss surgery, or you're someone who's, working on their own personal health journey. You're working on your own weight loss surgery. I've had your own weight loss journey without having a weight loss surgery procedure. The voices are there no matter what. But with that weight loss surgery umbrella, I think that is where we, have this commonality, this bond of those voices in our head. We know them, right? And we've tried over and over to overcome them. We get to the point of exhaustion. We get to the point where we have very little hope. We get to the point in my life where I lost the same 100 pounds 3 times, and I just didn't think I could muster up the oomph to do it again. So I sought out some help, right? I sought out that help of having weight loss surgery, right? So I wanted to do things differently. I wanted to create some type of change. Well, weight loss surgery is surgery on the inside, the stomach, right? The stomach, the intestines, whatever else might be involved with your type of procedure, but it's not on my head, right? So I had a life. I had, at least 20 years of my life where the negative Nancy strongly overtook the positive Polly. And I didn't have any history. I didn't have a lot of historical data that said positive Polly was so strong that her voice was something I could hear and I would listen to and I would act upon. I had a history of negative Nancy, and oftentimes when there were no voices in my head, it was because I was just doing whatever I wanted to do it, and that would be in the negative Nancy category. So just because I had weight loss surgery, or just because I've chose to be healthy, and attempt to lose some weight without a procedure, doesn't necessarily mean that those voices are gone. And because I had weight loss surgery and I had surgery on my stomach, I didn't have surgery on my head. So the voices are there, right? I'm coming up in a couple weeks. It's going to be 7 years post-op. Do I still have both positive Polly and negative Nancy in my head? Absolutely. Every day? Question mark. Every couple of days? Absolutely, right? So what do you do? What do you do when, I personally think I've had more outcomes with positive Polly on my side since I've had weight loss surgery than not. That is, proof to me in my personal success. I've had to overcome those voices. And so what I do is I take those inside voices and I get them outside. That's here, right? Me making these videos. For years now, I've came on and I've talked about what was going on inside my head. So I take the voices inside my head and bring them outside my head. Nobody may ever talk to me about this video. Nobody will ever maybe talk to me about some of my old videos, but at least I heard myself. So I go there. I go to my support network. I'm fortunate enough to have friends and family members who are weight loss surgery patients and those who are not. That if I, ring their bell, they're going to be there. And they're going to encourage me and support me and throw me that lifeline that I need, right? And, sometimes it happens so quickly. Thank goodness there's immediate technology. I can, reach out and ring that bell right now. So that's another way that I work through those voices in my head. Sometimes you just got to sit in the change too and talk out loud to yourself and, fight it. So, if you're not able to have the conversations outside your head and you don't have the support network that you need when you need them, and you're not successful in having those conversations outside your head, what do? I would talk to my bariatric surgeon, right? And they're probably going to refer me to the his practices or her practice, therapist, psychologist, psychiatrist, someone that can help me with that can give me some techniques that are beyond what I've shared here. They may even be able to give me a medication, right? And there's no shame in that. I think that's also something, I had the opportunity to sit in a presentation last year with over 100 bariatric surgeons. And what I learned was there's over 50 types of obesity. Yeah. And not all obesity will be solved with one single weight loss surgery procedure. You might need 2 or 3 procedures. In fact, you might need a trainer. You might need a bariatric coach. You might need a mental health professional. You might need to take some type of medication to help combat obesity, right? So maybe it's not just weight loss surgery that's the answer because, right? Just because we have surgery on our stomach doesn't take what goes on in our head. So, I have those conversations and then I don't beat myself up. That's the other thing, right? Like for me, I'm pretty stern with myself. And I certainly have set some non-negotiables with how I do things, right? On the food part, 90% of the time I'm tracking my food. That's what works for me. When I don't track my food, I don't even have the voices in my head. I just go the way I want to go. And 9 times out of 10, there'll be a weight gain there. That's just what happens, right? My water, I have some pretty hard and fast non-negotiable rules with my water. That's what works for me. I don't have breakfast until I finish my first bottle of water. I don't have lunch until I finish my second bottle of water. And I don't have my dinner until I finish the third bottle of water. And if I don't do that, if I don't have that non-negotiable with water, I struggle. I do. Yep. Portion control. If I'm going to track what I'm eating and know that I've hit my minimum protein for the day and know what it takes to keep me in a losing phase or a maintenance phase, I need to know that caloric intake. And I've got to track and measure to control my portions because my surgery and a lot of our surgeries, if we overeat, we can damage our stomachs, our pouches, right? Your anastomosis or whatever it's called if you had R&Y. So that stomach does stretch. I paid too much money for that to stretch. So I'm going to control those portions. So I'm weighing and measuring and controlling my portions. Those are pretty much non-negotiables for me too. And you know what? When I'm in a situation when I can't do that, I typically find myself overeating. Yes, I do that. So, fitness. My surgeon gave me a rule: 30 minutes a day, 7 days a week, 210 minutes a week. I have found that I feel good mentally and physically by maintaining that strict guideline that I was given of those 30 minutes, 7 days a week. If I don't do that, I feel it. And if I really haven't had a lot of consistently not doing that, but I can be guaranteed that my weight would be impacted for sure if I just said, I'm not going to do that fitness anymore. If I lit the, I needed to go to the gym today and run. Yeah, I did. It's raining outside. Can't run outside. I'd much rather just walk out my front door and go. Well, there goes the positive Polly, negative Nancy conversation. It was in my head today. And, I even said, I don't want to go. I said it out loud to my husband. Oh, right, you're not going? Thankfully, he gave me that kind of push that I needed. He knows me well enough that I got my shit together and I went out the door. So my point here is I have these non-negotiables, and that the more consistent I am in following those non-negotiables, I tend to win on the positive Polly. And what I've learned is more positive Polly, less negative Nancy. So it's about trying to, I don't even know that it's balanced. I think you got to have a little bit more positive Polly than you do have negative Nancy. And if you struggle with that, then you need to find some greater support than the weight loss surgery community. You need to find, contact with your surgeon, a mental health professional, and that's okay, right? Because nobody wants to be in that struggle, right? We don't. Nobody does. It's not fun. And when you attach beating up yourself and then possibly sabotaging yourself and getting possibly into a depressive state, that's just a really hard place to get out of. And I personally don't want to go back to that hole. I was at bottom of the barrel when I had weight loss surgery. So, you know what to do, and then doing it sometimes can be the challenge. And I think that is very common. So if it's happening to you, you're not alone. And hopefully what I've shared here may impact you in some way. So anyway, happy hump day. Have a great Wednesday. Thanks for watching.